Bitcoin could head as high as $150,000 according to a trader, but there's a catch. Now, here's the thing, I think long term, Bitcoin could easily get to $1 million, but who knows when that will actually end up happening, right? That might be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 40 years from now. Like, who knows? I think in terms of like investing, allocating a percentage of your total net worth towards Bitcoin, towards cryptocurrency, is an okay plan. So Bitcoin's recent breakout likely has legs, but investors should be cautious with how much of the cryptocurrency they own, says Inside Edge Capital Management founder Todd Gordon. I think it should be a part of client portfolios, but a small part, Gordon told CNBC's Trading Nation after Bitcoin hit a new all-time high on Tuesday. We actually don't have resistance until about $125,000 to $150,000, so I do think it'll get there. Roughly 3% of Gordon's portfolio is invested in various digital assets. With Apple looking into crypto technology, US mining on the rise as a result of China's ban, and the expansion of the metaverse, the space has several upside catalysts despite its amazing volatility, he said. I'm bullish, but volatility is so extreme. Please be careful and understand what you're dealing with here, Gordon said. And here's the thing, I have to agree with this, right? If you're going to get into something like Bitcoin, into something like cryptocurrency in general, be smart, be careful, and only put money into it that you are okay with losing. That doesn't mean that you plan on losing the money, but you are going to be okay with the potential consequences of losing all of your money, right? And that's the thing that you really need to think about when it comes to investing, right? You aim to do investing for the long term because when you invest for the longer term, you take on less risk, right? Because there's less fluctuations over the grand scheme of things. And look, as like a long-term investment strategy, Bitcoin is probably a great idea, right? The way that I personally view Bitcoin is that basically it is a better version of gold that you could actually buy things with, right? Because here's the thing. You can buy artwork with Bitcoin, you can buy cars with Bitcoin, you can technically buy anything you want with Bitcoin as long as there's a seller, right? But it is very difficult to go and buy something with gold. It's easy to buy gold, but it's difficult to actually buy things with gold. That being said, they both kind of have similar properties where there's like a limited resource, right? That being said, there's much more of a limited resource of Bitcoin than there is gold. So that's the way that I view it. Like if I were to choose between Bitcoin or gold to invest in, I would personally go with Bitcoin because I see there's more of a utility, and as tech increases, the more applications that it can be used in, or like the more utility it actually has. So though Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell helped spark the recent rally by saying he was not considering a crypto ban, the Fed could also become one of Bitcoin's biggest headwinds, Chantico Global founder and CEO Gina Sanchez said in the same interview. As the economy continues to reopen and the numbers start to heat up, at some point we will see the Fed stepping back from its massive monetary support, reducing liquidity in the markets and potentially stifling crypto performance, Sanchez said. She is also the chief market strategist at Lido Advisors. Global central banks looking into creating their own digital currencies could also pose a threat, she warned. Central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, have the potential to have an edge when it comes to regulation, and that's the big unknown right now with crypto, Sanchez said. It can create big winners and losers, All things considered, she agreed with Gordon that caution was key. If you take a position, it should be a very small one, she said. And disclosure, Gordon owns Bitcoin. Now here's the thing. This is the thing that you really got to understand, right? If you build a strong financial foundation, meaning you have basically like a sinking fund of like everyday expenses, right? Then you have an emergency fund and you have no debt and you already have money going towards investments in general for your future. Putting money into Bitcoin at that point is perfectly fine. And the thing is, if you're 100% debt free, if you live way below your means, right? Meaning, let's say that you make like 50K after taxes and you only spend 20K per year. Guess what? You have literally a $30,000 buffer of basically being able to do whatever the hell you want to do with that $30,000, right? So that's something to really think about. You could get more risky with the investments that you take when your foundation is more solid, right? So if you're debt free 100% and you have an emergency fund and you already have investments going on like your 401k, Roth IRA, that kind of stuff, putting more money into crypto or into like Bitcoin specifically is not a bad idea, right? Because is it going to change your life one way or the other? Not really, right? And that's the main thing. This basically just gives you more of an option potentially in the future, right? So when you have more money available to you that you could put towards somewhat riskier investments like cryptocurrency that could potentially have a higher payoff than like, a index fund of the S&P 500, guess what? That could end up turning out very well for you if you're able to do that. If you're able to take more risk because it has no literal impact on your lifestyle. And I want people to really understand that, right? The main reason why you want to be out of debt is to give you more options, right? Because the more options that you have available to you, one, the more freedom you have, and number two, the more opportunities for you to end up getting involved in something that potentially can pay off very well, right? For example, let's say that you were debt free when Bitcoin was like only a couple $100, right? And you're like, oh, I got like $5,000 just laying around somewhere just randomly, right? Let me just toss into this thing because it kind of looks cool. You'd be a millionaire, billionaire, whatever it is, right? Same thing with that whole that joke coin, Dogecoin, and that other joke coin, Shiba Inu, right? If you're debt free, right? If you already have investments going on and you just basically had cash that's like extra with you that you have access to, right? You have the opportunity to just be like, oh yeah, let me just toss like $2,000 or whatever into something called Shiba Inu. And then 10 months later, it ends up turning out to be like a few $1 billion, right? That's the main reason why you want to have a strong financial foundation. That's the main reason why you want to be debt free so that you can be dealing with more opportunities that come your way and you can act on them, even just for fun, because they might end up paying off, right? It's like the same thing with like, okay, for those people who end up playing the lottery, right? You should really only be playing the lottery if you're debt free and you got investments already going on and that your lifestyle is not going to be impacted by the money that you put into it. Because look, you might be able to do it for fun and it can pay off, or you just basically burn $20, right? Same thing goes with, going to Las Vegas and gambling, right? You should really only be doing that when you're debt free because you want to do it and enjoy it, right? You don't want to like basically, oh man, I just lost literally my savings account, everything that I saved, right? You don't want to be the type of person that literally just dumps their whole life savings into something stupid, like the investor who literally lost his whole life savings into the scam Squid Coin, right? So just something to really think about. And if you really want to get out of debt so that you have more money available to you to act on opportunities that could pay off, like Bitcoin, like cryptocurrency, go to 40inbox.com to learn how to get out of debt.